Hello, and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today is podcast number 1714. The topic is mindset, and the title is Important versus Urgent. Ooh. When it comes to trying to manage life, we have a million and one things that we feel like we need to do. And often they're very conflicting, and we can get kind of things out of order. We can end up putting in a lot of effort, but not living our best life, not getting the best for our efforts. I want to talk about that a little bit today because that's a very common struggle with clients, especially clients who are, who's not busy, right? But like, for example, there's one client, she's starting a new business and she moved. So she moved recently, starting a new business, and she's struggling with self-care. And that is in a case, like a season of life that is extremely overwhelming. That's going to feel like there's a lot of things that are important, but they're actually more just like urgencies. And I want to use these terms because there's business books and there's other kind of books like self-development books that use these terms, and I like the idea of the term because they both feel significant, but the way in which we react to each, or the way in which we should proactively approach each, is a little bit different. So I want to give a short little example. Meredith and I recently had a catch-up day. She got through something she was working on, and we took an extra couple days off just to kind of recoup before we go into the next adventure of life. What involved with this was one of the days that we had off, we had a million and one things that we wanted to do. And that is a synopsis in one day of what people struggle with every day. So I want to run through our day and kind of run through our thinking and encourage you to use a similar type approach whenever you're struggling with all of this. So on that day, the catch-up day, we had bills that we wanted to get paid, and then her and I wanted to talk about kind of how we were going to approach the bills for the rest of the year. So she's amazing at all this stuff. She has Excel spreadsheets and everything about finances. So we were just kind of talking with it, touch base. We usually touch base, not on a schedule, but we touch base once or twice a month, just see if everything's still on track, if we both still have the same opinion about things. So we both enjoy working, which is weird, but we both enjoy working, and we both enjoy kind of the idea of trying to not perfect life, because you never get it perfect, but continue to just do better. And it's just bettering our best. That's a good way of kind of approaching it. And finances is one thing that we both want to learn more about. We want to be in control, and we want to make sure that we secure ourselves and our future family, good financial, base structure. Support, foundation, all those terms. So we want to do bills, financial planning. We want to go to the gym. Meredith has a little bit of a harder time getting to the gym than I do due to long work hours and whatnot. That's why we have, stuff at home in our home office. We have a cable stack and a kind of a vertical elliptical rather than a horizontal elliptical because it gets better glute involvement for her. But we have some stuff at home we can exercise with, but the gym is freaking awesome. She loves the gym. She's competed in multiple women's physique competitions. She's a CrossFit coach, Olympic weightlifting certified. She has a crazy background of fitness, so she loves lifting weights. So we want to get her to the gym when she can. We wanted to do some self-care. Her and I have been recently kind of visiting this place up in Charlotte. It's Restore Hyper Wellness. I think it's on Carmel Road. I forget the name of the location. But we've been going there. I've been trying cryotherapy. We tried Normatec boots because I have used those in the past. I like that. Meredith has been doing some IVs to try to help with her micronutrient balance, as well as doing some red light therapy. So we've been kind of going up there when we can, getting in some self-care. So we wanted to get that in on the day off as well. She had a jacket she had returned to Banana Republic. We had a ring that she had that, unfortunately, when they sized the ring, they sized it wrong, and it had a sharp edge to it, and it would cut Meredith's finger. So we took it to a better jeweler, and they're kind of helping us fix that ring. But we had to stop in, make sure of the changes they wanted to make were appropriate. And then she had pants that she had to hem. We had to go to Verizon to change some things with our phone plan. And we wanted to swing back by the gym because we had been away for a couple days to pick up some 212 Meals, which is a company that does food prep. And we have a fridge in our gym, actually, where 212 Meals drops off meals for people locally. They can come and pick them up, so you can get like pre-made meals. They're freaking awesome and delicious, but you don't have to pay shipping because you can just pick them up at one location. So it's really cool. It's a really great way to save on food prep cost. So I do like that for myself and Meredith, as well as my family and all the gym members and clients. So it's pretty awesome to have that as a service. So we wanted to pick that up at the end of the day, so we weren't driving around all day with the food in the back of our car. So that is the list that I'll share with you. We had a couple other things we had to do as well, but that's a long enough list. I think we even had to go to CVS for something. So it was just all day. We had a lot of things. So we're looking at this, and it's like, okay, something we need to work on and kind of help identify, and Meredith is awesome at this as well, is just discussed kind of what was important versus what was urgent. So, for example, what we both felt was important was the gym. Yes, if you miss a workout, if I do push-pull legs and I miss one day, I can do upper body, lower body, get the full body in 3 days anyhow. There's ways to make some small adjustments here and there. But if you miss the workout for that day, you miss the benefits for that day. And Meredith wanted the gym. She was going to start work the next day, so she wouldn't be able to go to the gym the next day. Not in the long extent of being able to stay there like an hour and so. So we did go to the gym the next day, but it was like a 30-minute kind of circuit. So we wanted to get the gym in. We felt that was important. It was something that we didn't want to have to make up another day or modify from what was our main intent to just what was good enough. We wanted to have a great day at the gym, so we both decided that was important. Another thing we decided was important was self-care. We wanted to go up to Restore Hyper Wellness. We wanted to get the stuff done, and that was going to be really hard to fit in any other time. We would have basically just missed this week if we didn't go up there and do that today. So we decided that those two things were our important things. Then everything else felt urgent. So it felt necessary, and there would be pressure to feel like you had to do it on this day. But in one way or another, they could have technically been done on other days or in other ways. And that's important to know. It's important to know out of all the things we have to do today, or if you think about what you have to do this week, or what you're going to be doing in this next month, or what you're doing in this season of life. What is important versus what's urgent. The other things on the list, they felt important, but they weren't. They were things that we could adjust easier than the gym and self-care. So, for example, bills. We weren't paying the bills on like the deadline of the day. We don't wait for that. So we could have just done that the next day if we wanted to. Financial planning, we kind of touched base on that on a regular basis. So that could have just been delayed as well if we wanted. If we look at the returning her jacket that she wanted to do, we actually had a extra week that we could have done it. So really, we could have done that any day after work in the upcoming week. The ring, that was again something where there's really no timeline on that. We could have went and done that the next weekend or just whenever that worked. Hemming her pants, there was no rush on that as well. Just whenever that fit in would have worked. Verizon, I could have spent the time on the phone and got that done the next day. We could have maybe went online and tried to do that through the website. It just felt easier that if we were going to be out and about, we could just stop at the location since it's nearby and just kind of get it all done in one kind of swooping effort for the day. But that's something that could have been done another day. And then the 212 meals, if, for something happened where we couldn't get back to the gym to pick up our meals that day, we could have just cooked some food we had at home and picked up the meals the next day. So looking through all the things that we wanted to do, there were some things that were important. They absolutely needed to take precedent. They needed to be prioritized. And to us, we decided that was gym and self-care. Everything else was urgent. It felt necessary. We felt pressure to get it done. But it could technically have been done in another way or another time. And that's something that I think is helpful for all of us to recognize is we often miss what's important chasing after what's urgent. So, for example, let's say we're like, yeah, you know what? We own the gym. It's a 24/7 gym. Why don't we wait? Why don't we go return the jacket? Why don't we take look at the ring? Why don't we work on getting the pants hemmed? Verizon might close. So let's go there. So we try to take care of all of those things and then say we had planned to go to the gym. Maybe by that time, we're dead tired. We missed some food if we hadn't planned our food well. We might have missed food, had no energy. Maybe all that stuff took more stress out of us than we planned. It took an extra hour or two, and then all of a sudden we feel pressured at the end of the day. Maybe by that time it's 6:30 at night. The gym's kind of packed and full, and that might not be the best environment because her and I both kind of restore ourselves through fitness, and we're introverts, so we don't do well around a lot of people. That's not restorative. We can make it work when we need to, but that wouldn't be our preference. So if we had put all of the things that felt urgent in ahead of what was important, we might not have gotten the important thing done, or we might have shortchanged it. We might have said, yeah, at the beginning of the day, tons of energy, ton of excitement. I would have spent an hour in the gym. Now I'm tired, I'm miserable. Let's just stop in for 15 minutes. So we get the important thing done, but it's not of a really good quality. And that's common. Common is if we don't properly manage important versus urgent, sometimes, we completely miss the important things. Or sometimes we do them, but we do them in kind of like a half-assed, kind of short, low-quality way. And that often shows itself in self-care. I don't eat optimally. I just eat, whatever I can, when I can, and then I wonder why I feel like shit and look like shit. Or we don't prioritize and treat our relationships as important. So we get home from a day of just reactiveness, reacting to everything that happens to us, chasing down a bunch of urgencies. We're tired. We're just kind of exhausted, mentally burned out. And then around the people we love, we're short, we're rude, we're, maybe lash out, we say something we normally wouldn't. So we are trying to do the relationship, but we're not doing a very good job of it. That's common. And it shows in many other ways. But if we don't properly manage important things versus urgent things, we don't do the important things, or we don't even do them well, and we don't get what we want. An example of this is Meredith and I have a goal that we have in mind for something coming up in about 10 weeks. And we're like, hey, we want to both be a little bit leaner. We want to change a couple things in our physique that we want to see in 10 weeks what we can achieve. So we're actually doing before and after photos. We're kind of doing like a fun little kind of project for ourselves. And the thing is today, or on that day, going to the gym might have felt like just one of many things. We might have felt so stressed with that list of less important things looming over us that we may have skipped the gym, or we might have thought, I'll just do that tomorrow. I gotta get these other things done today, And then all of a sudden we don't go to the gym, or we do a half-ass effort at the gym. Then we miss the next day because we're chasing after other urgent things. Then we miss the next day because, your car breaks down, your fridge breaks, whatever happens. Just more and more random crap happens. And you keep missing the important thing, missing the important thing, missing the important thing. And then all of a sudden in 10 weeks, we look like crap, we feel like crap, we didn't hit our goals, we're depressed, we're sad. But if on a day like this, we realize the gym is important. It's important to me today, but it's definitely going to be important to me next week, next month, next year. The accumulation of my efforts in the gym contribute to how I feel when I look in the mirror, how I feel when I'm in social situations. The accumulation of small efforts of important things adds up to very significant things. But what happens is we can often lose the importance in the mess of, in the pressure of what feels urgent. We tend to spend our days reacting rather than planning and being proactive. Rather than looking at everything we have to do, picking and choosing it based on priority, we tend to just react. And that will never lead to your best life. You can't just react to everything that's happening to you because you're being pushed and pulled around. You have a path. You have a course that you want to be on. You have an outcome that you want. You have a goal, maybe a quality of life, quality of relationships, a way you want to look, a way you want to feel. There's something that you have that's a goal. There are actions that you need to do to reach that goal. And in the way of those actions is a bunch of random shit that life is going to throw at you. If you're constantly reacting to the random shit, you're never going to be doing the right actions to the right amount, with the right mindset, the right dedication, the right effort. And you're not going to get that end goal that you want. We have to stop. Take a breath. And think. What do I have today that will lead me to the best life? Not just what do I have happening today that I just need to get done. What do I have available to me today that will lead to the best life? Not just tomorrow, but next month, next year, next 10 years. What do I have to do today? What can I do today that is important for the future I want? Versus what today feels urgent. I feel the pressure to get it done. But it's not as significant, it's not as important as those bigger things. That's how we want to plan our days. We know that there's going to be a lot of things on us. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of things on your plate. You're balancing a lot, right? Don't just bounce, react. You have to stop. You have to think. You have to plan. You want to be proactive, not reactive. So make sure what you're doing today, what you're doing in every single moment, is what's most important, not what feels most urgent. Okay? Just some food for thought. I hope you think it through. If you have any questions, let me know. I appreciate everybody listening to the podcast. I really do genuinely hope that it's helpful. I hope that you always feel welcomed and encouraged to reach out. My email is brutalironjim@gmail.com. If you like the podcast, please share the podcast. If you like the podcast, please consider donating to support the podcast, which you can do on our website. And if you like the information we share on our podcast, you can always find more from us on our social media channels on Instagram and YouTube. You can find us and follow us under the name Brutal Iron Jim. As always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.